welcome to the Incoming Video Podcast. This is the show that looks back at the week's historical miniature releases. This is episode 37, which looks back at the releases for week ending the 5th of March 2010. And as always, I'm your host, Neil Shook. Well, a decent set of miniature releases this week, so hopefully I've got a pretty good top 10 for you. So let's crack on, shall we? At number 10 this week, we have a new release from Magister Militum. Now, Magister are best known for producing 10mm figures. These are the first of their new range of Peninsular War British Napoleonic. They're not bad, although to a certain extent the figures do look a little caricaturish. Maybe, strange to say, dumpy for figures that are so small. But you know what I mean, especially they seem to have slightly oversized heads. I must admit, in this sort of scale, I, at the moment, much prefer Bacchus. The Bacchus 6mm range, which are a little bit bigger than that, are far superior to these at the moment. But it'll be interesting to see what else they come out with. Number 9, and some new figures from a Knuckleduster. Now, Knuckleduster are best known for 28mm and 40mm figures from the Old West. Here are some of their newest releases, which are of Outlaws and US Marshals. I can't help still thinking that these figures are slightly strange. They seem a little caricaturish. Definitely a case of things like the rifles seem to be overscale. And a couple of the poses are quite strange. The running poses where you've got a character only on one foot just don't quite look right to my mind. But for all that said, some interesting figures here. Number 8, and the first of several new releases for miniatures supported by Northstar. These are from their Northstar Africa range, and these are Matabele warriors. Several packs released from Northstar for this range. As you can see, a different variant on African warriors, slightly different to Zulus. I'm not sure actually whether these in the end suffer from potentially the same sort of issues that someone like Foundry suffers from. These are £5 for a pack of 4 miniatures. They're nice enough sculpted. I think the anatomy and the sculpting of these figures are superior to the Foundry Zulu range, for example. But you're going to still find yourself paying fairly premium price for what is going to be a horde army. So I can definitely see an issue on that side of things. But £10 for 8 figures these days, I suppose, isn't that bad. Nice enough sculpts though. I can't really comment on the historical accuracy too much because I don't know the period, but these are nice enough. I stay with Northstar for my number 7. Another new release supported from them. These are from a company called Phoenix Miniatures, and here we see 3 new packs of Zouaves. We have firing, rifles are ready, and then finally a command pack complete with a standard bearer. I've not come across anything from Phoenix before, and these seem perfectly serviceable. A nice start to the range from Phoenix. Number 6, and we see a new release from Warlord Games. Hot on the heels of all their paratroops, we now see a new release of Partisans. What we see is that they're releasing a pack of 8 Partisans, but these are actually a random mixture from a much rather selection, which I'm hopefully showing here. Now, there's a decent selection of miniatures available, all pretty good sculpts, although I think some almost look slightly caricaturish as the heads appear to be just that little bit big. Not exactly sure why that is. But it has to be said, on the whole, these sculpts just don't grab me. Not in the same way that, for example, their paratroops have done over recent weeks. In comparison, I think the paratroops have all been absolutely excellent sculpts. These, not so much. But as you can see, you've got a selection of Partisans all armed with varying amounts of German kit, whether it be helmets, rifles, submachine guns, etc. Obviously, very useful for those of you who run these types of games, as I don't think there were that many Partisan figures around. But all the same, I think a little bit disappointing, if I'm being honest. Number 5, and it's back to figures distributed by Northstar Military Figures again. These are from another new company which I haven't been previously aware of. These are from Trent Miniatures, and these are slaves who are fighting in the Caribbean. And I suppose these can be used to put alongside some of your pirates ranges, for example. Add something a little bit different to your pirate crew. Some nice figures among these, I think. Again, workmanlike sculpting as opposed to anything particularly outstanding, but a nice enough release if you're interested in that particular period. On to number 4, another strange release from Copplestone Castings. This is another armoured car for the Russian Civil War. This particular model is a K-55 Garford Pulitov. A very strange looking vehicle, all in all. It really doesn't look like it's something that would actually exist, although we're assured that these vehicles actually did. But a very unlikely looking vehicle, an unusual subject. I suppose it goes along with the other armoured car releases we've been seeing for this particular period, revitalising yet again the Back and Beyond era of gaming. Once again sculpted by Richard Kemp, who is excellent at these sort of vehicles. I think it speaks for itself, really. A strange looking vehicle, but I'm sure one that will stand out on the tabletop. Number 3, and new release from Musketeer Miniatures. Now, Musketeer, amongst other things, are producing a range of miniatures for their British Civil War. And here we have a couple of new releases. We have a Vickers heavy machine gun team, and also we have a Militia boys anti-tank rifle team. You don't tend to see many of these anti-tank rifle teams. They're actually pretty useful. It would be interesting to see these in the flesh to see exactly what sort of kit they're wearing and whether or not they'd actually be useful for standard British infantry from 1940. As I say, you don't tend to get very many boys anti-tank rifles around, and this looks to be a pretty decent sculpt. A couple of nice releases of Musketeer. I've been very, very encouraged by the miniatures I've seen in this particular range. They really are excellent stuff. Number 2, and it's Eureka, and it's back to their French Revolutionary Wars range. They've just released this set of artillery crew in campaign wear, and as you can see, it's a pretty nice set of miniatures. A little bit more ragtag than their standard artillery crew, as you can probably appreciate. Nice variation of poses, characterful, a lovely set of sculpts. Continued high quality releases from Eureka, like these. Which leads me to this week's number 1, and it's back to Brigade Games, and it's more from the Napoleon in Egypt range that Paul Hicks is sculpting for them. Here we see some new command figures for that range, and I think again you'll agree that these are excellent. I featured the first releases in this range last week. It's more of the same, high quality. Yet again, I think the detail, especially on the faces, really make these stand out. Yeah, I'm liking these figures a lot. I'm really impressed with these. Bags of character, well sculpted, excellent stuff. Well, there we have it. Probably not so high quality set of releases this week as we've seen in the last 2 or 3 weeks, for example. But nonetheless, some good releases amongst this week's batch. And I hope you've seen something that's sparked your interest. Well, that's all I've got time for. But before I go, I want to say thank you to Bill at the Miniatures page and Zach at Tabletop Gaming News. Without these guys' sites and hard work, this podcast simply wouldn't be possible. I'd say a huge thank you to you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Take care. Happy gaming till next week. I'll see you soon. Bye.